So this is the way we would play our life if we were standing in your physical shoes. We'd deal with it as it comes. We would ignore as much of reality as we could that we do not like. We would put emphasis on as much of reality as we find that we do like, practicing the good parts and sort of leaving the rest aside. But we would make our vortex, we would make our mind time, we would make our meditation time, we would make our affirming time, we would make our milking the vortex time a way bigger percentage of our life experience, because that's where the leverage is. And you following? So you think when you're in the vortex, and you meditate when you find yourself out of the vortex. You talk all you can when you're in the vortex. You just talk, you describe, you tell stories, you tell jokes, you reminisce, you imagine in the future. Just talk as much as you can when you're in the vortex, to yourself, to your mate, to the world, to the universe, to others, to anybody who will listen. Just chatter as long as you're in the vortex. That's where you want Jeremy to hear 100% of your conversation, not just about him, but about anything. And if you're not in the vortex, be very, very quiet. Don't practice affirming from outside the vortex. Do all of your practicing from inside the vortex. So now, once you get something like that going on, so Jeremy comes and maybe he's out of the vortex, or maybe he just wants to get a rise out of you, but he does something that momentarily takes you out of the vortex, and you remember, this is my time of ignoring. This is my time of... And now, the parenting books would say, oh, no, Abraham, you've got to nip this in the bud. You can't. You can't nip an unwanted thing in the bud. When you snip it off, two grow back.
And every parent in the grocery store, too, as he's doing it.
Say again?
And every parent in the grocery store as he's doing it. Pulling his number, it's like...
You can't...
I actually try and run out of there and stuff like that happens. Let's just go, because I can't...
You cannot curb bad now you can control bad behavior, but you will not ever get to the vibrational cause that is a reason for the bad behavior. Do you know, when we talk to people who have illness, when we talk to scientists or doctors who want to know about well-being, we say to them, until you get to the vibrational cause, you have nothing. You've got to stop looking for a cure and treating the problem, because the problems just become more and more and more. You've got to look for the vibrational reason, but you cannot find the vibrational reason when you're outside the vortex, because you're such a match to it so we made our point very clearly. So do you want to talk about it in any more detail?
I was going to ask you about
what you might say to him. So he comes in wanting to get a rise out of you, and you're in the ignore mode, because you can feel that anything that you say here, and we've been emphasizing it by saying, if you've ever had a fist fight, there was a point right before the first one offered the first blow that you could have pulled back, and it would have been better, because it's easier to get back into the vortex before your fingers and noses are broken than it is after. So even though the momentum took you there, and it seemed like the logical thing to do, and it felt like you were inspired to do it, it would have been better if you could have pulled back from it. And if you've ever been in an argument where you know you're right and the other one knows they're right, and the more you talk, the stronger you both get, because you never talk anyone into your point of view. All you do is shore up their point of view. In other words, it's just the way the law of attraction works. The more you defend your position, the more your opponent defends their position. And so it just gets bigger and bigger until eventually it does come to some sort of blows. So if you think of not letting it come to physical punches and not letting it come to verbal punches, in the same way that you pull the fist back and you pull the words back, you could pull the thoughts back. But this is all an outside the vortex world where you're using your willpower to control behavior. And that's mostly what parents are teaching most children, how to use their willpower even though the currents aren't making it easy for them to use their willpower to control their behavior. And that's why we say you might be able to control them, and you might be able to give enough of an evil eye, and you might be able to exercise your bigness and your authority. But when they're not with you, they will behave the way that the energy within them is causing them to behave. And that's why you haven't caused any sort of an improvement, because nothing has happened vibrationally. So let's say Jeremy comes in, and for whatever reason, maybe because he's been practicing it, maybe because you've been worrying about it, maybe because somebody has been giving him a hard time, doesn't matter how he got to his out of the vortex place, but let's say that he misbehaves in some way. Now, of course, you don't want him to, and when you see it, your reaction to it really is more of a testament to your relationship with your vortex than it is with anything that he's doing. Because if seeing that jerks you immediately out of the vortex, then you haven't really established your place in the vortex. If your happiness really depends on Jeremy's behavior, you're in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. And so is Jeremy. Because he's going to come to resent your control. We promise you he will. And you're going to resent his lack of conformity. We promise you you will. And that is no basis for a relationship. So what you want to do, you want to practice when he's not around. And from inside the vortex, your understanding of who he is so powerfully that when you see him having one of those moments, it doesn't faze you for a moment, because you know who he really is. You've practiced in your mind. You know who he really is. And we promise you, under those conditions, he will be who he really is. In other words, you're not making it up. You know who he is, because his contrast has caused him to create a vortex that you get a glimpse of often when you get into your vortex. You following this?
Yep. That's good.
So then what happens? He misbehaves, but it's not in time, and a very short time. It's not like you have to exercise control and pretend like you didn't see it. You won't see it. You won't see it. The universe will not line you up. When you've practiced his best behavior from inside the vortex, the universe will not show you a moment of his bad behavior. Now think about that. His or anyone's. The universe won't show you car wrecks. The universe won't show you disease. The universe won't show you muggings and rapings and pillagings and robbings. The universe won't show you anything that you're not a vibrational match to. Now, you're feeling this, aren't you? So now this is really interesting. So as a parent, Esther said, because they have all kinds of property and they're not at any of it. They're running around in their bus. And so Esther said one time a while back, we need some hidden cameras so that we can see what's going on. And we said, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. You don't want to know if the gardener really stayed the whole time he was supposed to. You don't want to know that he saw that it didn't require him, and so he didn't hang around. You don't want to know that. And Esther said, well, maybe I do. Maybe I want to know. And we say, if you want to know about bad behavior, then you're going to be approaching this relationship from your opinion of bad behavior, and you cannot therefore get good behavior. You don't want to know. You don't want to know. Do you want to know? You think you want to know, but you don't want to know. You don't. So now think about your child. So most parents say, I want to know. You tell me the truth. You better tell me the truth.
Yep.
You better tell me the truth. You better tell me how bad you are. And the child is hearing you say, I want you to point out to me the things for which I will punish you. Mm-hmm. The child is thinking, right.
Jeremy always says, I forgot. Kind of ends it.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I don't remember.
Well, sometimes he really doesn't. In other words, have you ever been sort of tuned in, and then you meet someone and you start to tell them a negative story and it goes right out of your mind? You think, I thought that was interesting. Why can't I remember it? Because it's not on the vibrational wavelength of who you are and what you really mean to project in this moment, you see. So you just have to decide that you are going to make your vortex and what you think about, whether it's Jeremy or anything else, that your vortex is going to be really, really important to you. And so before he says, I forget, you want to beat him to it and say, I didn't even see what it is you're trying to forget.
Yeah.
I don't notice the indiscretions that now you're trying to forget, because I'm so in the vortex that my universal partners don't show those things to me. Now, if you can get this, then you've got it, because now you understand how to deal with your point of attraction. In other words, you don't have to get out there and clean up all those messes. All you got to clean up is your point of attraction. It's not even your right to clean up those messes. It's not your right to ask one other person, even if they live with you, to behave in a different way. It's not your right. It's only your right to offer a vibration that is so in sync with what you wish to receive that that's all you get. You get to control what you attract. You get to control what you attract. You get to control what you attract. And what they give has nothing to do with anything that is your business.
I've heard it clearer this time than I've ever heard it. Thank you.
And because of the intensity of your desire, and the intensity of your appreciation and love for this child, and the intensity of who this child is, and what we are all in this co-creative experience together, we have answered it more clearly than ever before.